Welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Jones, your host, and we have some pretty exciting guests with us today. And I'm very honored to introduce Dr. Penny Wills from Yavapai College. She is the president of the college, and James Perry, who is the dean of the Verde side of the hill, I guess, as you would call it.
Campus,
where I was calling, well, we have 3 different districts, no, 5 districts now in
5.
Yavapai College.
Yeah.
So, so I'd just like to start off talking about, well, Yavapai College and how important that is to me and other residents of the Verde Valley, and of course all of Yavapai County, but you know, the mayor of Cottonwood is pretty interested in the Verde Valley. So it's just a great organization. It's a great educational organization that provides even more services than just education. I mean, there's economic development, there's a lot of pieces to our Yavapai College. But first I want to let both of you introduce yourselves a little bit and tell us a little bit about your backgrounds, and we'll start with Dr. Wills.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Diane. First of all, this is my second presidency, and it's one that I will always be forever grateful at Iowa because they let me learn how to be a president. Now, to be able to bring that experience to all of Yavapai County, because this is a very, as you said, a very complex, it's not a typical community college. It very much takes it to heart that we serve the communities that we are responsible for, which is all of Yavapai County. And so I feel very honored to be here, and also feel a great responsibility to serve the communities in that it's not my college, it's yours.
Thank you.
And so I always look at it as the Verde Valley campus. It's not just in one town, it's all of this area.
You're always encouraging us to use the pavilion, the new Mayberry Pavilion, because you always tell us that's your college.
It's your college.
Right.
So, but I came originally from Ohio and have been, I have a wonderful career in the sense that I wouldn't trade it for anything, but this is the top job as far as in my heart. This is a wonderful college, a wonderful group of communities. Couldn't ask for anything better. So we'll talk about more what the college has to do, but I feel very honored to be here.
Well, thank you very much. And you got your education. You want to go share a little bit of information
Well, my father
about...
thought I wasn't ever going to graduate because I'm a first
and look.
Yeah, I know. I'm a first-generation college student. Parents never went to college. World War II came up, etc.
They didn't have the opportunities.
They didn't, yeah. My mother was valedictorian of her high school class, but went right into work when my dad went off to the Navy. And so here we are. Went to University of Cincinnati, my hometown school, go Bearcats, and then got my counseling degree at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, and then my PhD from Michigan State, go Spartans. So, no.
You have lots of allegiances through all your experiences.
So, but again, it's, to me, education is just so important to the betterment of a whole community. And again, the responsibility that Yavapai College has to the communities.
Absolutely. And you're there to promote jobs and help create jobs and help educate for jobs and a better quality of life for the residents
Very
of
much so.
Yavapai County.
Yeah. To me, to improve your life, typically there's only 2 ways to do it. One is to go ahead and get education, or to marry into something higher, whatever. Well, I don't like to take all those different variables or chances on the second. Get an education. Not only does it help you to review critical thinking, et cetera, to understand and appreciate the differences that are in our society and the tolerance and everything else that we talk about, but also how do we go ahead and give back to our communities? And to me, engaged citizenry is very, very important, in addition to learning a vocation of some sort. So to me, that's key.
Absolutely. And James and I are both graduates of Project Central, a 2-year leadership class that we both completed, not too many years apart.
I think you interviewed me.
I did. I remember that. That's one of the interviewees. And James is always, from what I can tell and from my knowledge of him, he's a hard worker, he's intelligent, he is just really exemplary in his goals and accomplishments. So you can share a little bit with us about your life and your background.
You know, what a unique place Yavapai College is. I was fortunate enough, I did my undergraduate, well, first, to let people know, I grew up in Mayer. So Yavapai County is home to me. Is home to me. I actually went to Yavapai College right out of high school and determined that I wasn't, you might say, mature enough to start college at that point in time. So I did 3 years in the military.
Okay.
And went down to the university.
That matured you in a hurry, right?
It did, and what you find out, and much of what community college is about, is you know you've got students that are testing the waters, but you also have students that are more mature, that are really focused on what they want to do, and we provide an opportunity for both
for all ages,
for
really.
all ages to continue their higher education. But I started out teaching agriculture education at the high school level near Yuma, Arizona, and a great experience for me. I got a call from the University of Arizona to come back and work for them, and I thought that I wanted to be at a 4-year Research One institution, and that wasn't where I needed to be. And I was fortunate enough to apply for a faculty position in agribusiness with Yavapai, and 11 years later, I find myself as a dean for the Verde Valley campus, and really specifically my background was in career and technical education. I assisted John Morgan, the dean for CTE, in getting CTEC up and off the ground and building and developing new programs over there. I think this a year and a half here at the Verde campus, and you know, we're doing some great things, and we've got some ways to go. But some things are moving along that I'm very proud about, and very proud to be working with faculty and staff on.
As we get into the interview, we'll learn about just how much is going on at the Verde campus, and it's just newly been remodeled, and it's just a beautiful campus. I mean, you walk out there and it's just very, very nice. So we have quite a nice building here in the Verde Valley for people to attend college. So let's just, well, getting back to you, wasn't your dad in education?
He was. My dad was a longtime ag teacher at Mayer High School, principal there, and principal at Chino Valley, and then finished his educational career as a superintendent. Interesting enough, Penny talks about the value of education. My father was a high school dropout twice, you know, so instilled in me was, you know,
get your education.
Absolutely, absolutely. No matter what you want to do, whether it's the career and technical side or the purely academic side, but you know, get your education.
You're going to be in school, son,
That's
right? And a lot of that does come.
Oh, it does.
Come from the home, but a lot of it comes from just a person's ambition. It just depends. So, but some kids know in the home that they will be going to college. There's not any discussion. So we've been hearing a lot about this 10-year plan thing. There's been just a lot of information out there, and people just have a lot of questions. So that's kind of what our goal is today, is to answer folks' questions, give them information, how to find you, you know, through the internet, through email, through phones, so if they have further questions or comments, that they can get a hold of you. But why don't we go ahead and start today with, tell us, you know, what is the recently developed 10-year master plan for Yavapai College, and who would like to start?
I'll go ahead and just mention a few things about it. Any institution needs to be prepared for future times. It's not just a turn on the dime type thing, especially with the funding in higher education. But even more important is the responsibility to its communities. And so the 10-year campus master plan is just that, 10 years, long time in the future, and a plan. It is not set in concrete. And so, our plan, just as the 2000 plan, has always been, our goal is to always be responsive to the communities that we serve, to say it's got to be flexible. Here's our guide, but if something comes up, how do we adjust that? But it's our guide, because as you build, and it's primarily facilities, to say, okay, what facilities do you need to plan for? Well, how do you design that? How do you build it? When do you occupy it? All the intricacies in that. But I think an excellent example is right here at Verde with the Southwest Wine Center. That was not in the 2000 master plan. But here's something happened right here in the Verde. I spent Saturday here having a great time at the different vineyards. very responsible drinking, but it was very, very good, excellent wine, brought people in from out of the area to show them what's happening here in the Verde. And this is something that we're doing in the Southwest Wine Center, which James knows much more about that, but it's a good example of something that has developed. How did we respond? We have a very active viticulture and enology program, and so that ties back to the master plan is not set in concrete. Right. So it's a plan on what we need to develop.
Things can change and needs can change, and we can't exactly know what the future is. It's the best possible prediction, but things do change, and they could change in this 10-year plan.
Exactly.
Just as a city creates a plan.
Exactly.
And you know, things do change, but if you fail to, let's see, how does it go? If you fail to plan,
yes,
you plan to fail.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to plan.
It's just a plan, and it's one to help us think through. We started this back in last March. We had a number of community meetings, number of internal community meetings, well, as far as internal to the college, looked at all the trends and data to say that, and then we went in and said, okay, and had a firm that worked with us that are nationally known to do that. They know us down to our blood type. They know all the demographics around here and said, okay, here's where we think you should go based on all this information. Then we rolled it out and said, okay, and during the process also had the open meetings to keep people abreast of that as it was being developed. So that is going on. The board in December approved the plan. And keep in mind, though, that they work with a 5-year budget projection as far as capital. They look to see 5 years out. Again, back to why we need to look 5 years, because if we put money in to design something in year 3, when it gets closer, when they approve the budget for year 1, we don't want to waste that money.
Right.
So they have, it's our responsibility to share with the board, here's what we're looking at over a 5-year plan.
And design is a big piece of the budget.
Oh, it's very big.
It's costly.
Yeah, and for Verde, I think we're in the Verde Valley campus is in a very, very good situation, because we went ahead and, as you mentioned, it's a beautiful campus. It's got the ability to grow, which is good. It's set to grow. Because
we have actually, we don't fill up all of our rooms with our enrollment right now. We have a ways to grow people in those buildings. So it's well positioned to be responsive to the communities we serve. So it's there. So if someone says, oh, your position, you're not spending enough back here, well, I'm thinking back as a taxpayer. Would the taxpayers want us to put more money in a building that's not needed? Right.
I don't think so. And I can assure everyone and invite people over to the campus to look at that, to go ahead and experience it. The pavilion that you mentioned, that's in there now. The community room, the Southwest Wine Center, the classrooms, the food service, the art gallery, the library, all these things are there. It's a comprehensive campus. And it's positioned to grow, so, and we'll do everything we can to get it to grow. So it's well positioned.
Right. Okay, well, it's already time, and maybe even a little past time for a break. So we'll just take a minute, and we'll be right back.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size.
We know what you told us.
There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat. Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Jones, and we have Dr. Penny Wills and James Perry from Yavapai College. So tell me a little bit about what is Yavapai College spending in the Verde Valley?
Based on our calculations, and I believe they're very, very close to what the county assessor has been providing people, is we generate approximately $12.2 million in property tax for the Verde Valley. And over the last 4 years, we spent on average about 12.5. You know, it's interesting to note, because you don't want to say, well, we generate this much, so we spend this much necessarily.
Right.
If needs arise, you may end up spending more.
Right.
If costs go down, you may end up spending less. And, you know, I think Penny was exactly right that the 10-year master plan is exactly that, a plan. And within that plan is quite a bit of what we'd call capital improvements. What that doesn't speak to is, as needs arise within the Verde campus, within Sedona, wherever it may be, we want to be able to meet those needs. And those don't necessarily show up on the 10-year master plan. Case in point was, like she said, the Southwest Wine Center. You know, the institution is just, and this is a key word, is invested $20 million into that campus. The Southwest Winery is on top of that. You know, so if you haven't been by the campus, boy, it's starting to look like an academic teaching winery. The only one in this state, and the only one in 4 states surrounding us. So it's really a unique program, and we're getting students that are moving up to the Verde Valley from Phoenix. We're getting
to
students
attend these classes.
Absolutely, we're getting students moving from Napa, California, to take this program. And really, once the Southwest Wine Center, which is slotted to be completed mid-June.
Okay, wow.
So we'll be running and gunning come fall.
Yeah, we just broke ground in November?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is exciting. And realize that not only do we want to train people for an industry that is growing here in Arizona.
We'll provide jobs.
Absolutely. We're training people that can work in other states as well. You know, the third leg of the wheel kind of is the viticulture, the enology, and the entrepreneurship then. As people want to go out on their own and explore opening, you know, establishing their own vineyard or their own winery, we want to be able to equip them with the necessary skills to do that. So, you know, again, it doesn't speak to possibilities in the future as we really assess what the needs are of the communities and the possibility that if the community needs something, I think Dr. Wills would agree with me that Yavapai College is ready to step up.
Absolutely. So a plan is a plan, and it's a lot of capital ideas. I mean, it's a lot about capital, but if there is a need, and well, for instance, the nursing program, that's a program that you've been very dedicated to for many years, and along with Marcus J. Lawrence, the Verde Valley Medical Center. I just went back about 15 years. The Verde Valley Medical Center has been a great partner, as well as the other hospitals in Yavapai County. So tell us a little bit, you know, some of the questions that I've heard is, what about with the master plan, what about the medical training for people in the Verde Valley?
I'm so glad you asked that, Diane, because I think it's one that we probably got too close to, and it's misunderstood. Some people think we're going to take out nursing from the Verde Valley. It couldn't be anything but that. Essentially, as we look at it, and let's frame that, healthcare, whether you like to come down on the side of Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, healthcare has changed markedly, and the needs are there. The type of jobs that will be required for healthcare, many of them aren't even created yet. Then you put the rural aspect on top of it, and the challenges in a rural community to go ahead and address the healthcare needs. And it's something that we're very emotional about because we all take advantage of it. I mean, we need it. So looking at this whole thing, what we did was go ahead and say, okay, how could we go ahead and maximize this? It's one of the most expensive programs we have. And we want to go ahead and build on relationships with our 4-year institutions, our research institutions, our 4 hospitals, the JTEDs, et cetera, to bring this together in one place. Now,
and JTEDs are?
Our Joint Technical Education Districts.
Okay, thank you.
And so to go ahead and plan a hub that will go ahead, a center of excellence for nursing and allied health. And other programs, well, they'd be under allied health, but it'd be there. And so what we will do is have the opportunity to go ahead and build off of that synergy with is use of multiple labs for multiple uses, to go ahead and have options for students to pursue different degrees. We can offer the 2-year degree, but already in relationship with with NAU right now, we have programs that are linked together. We won't become a 4-year institution. We're very proud of being a 2-year institution, but by bringing those partners in, we will be able to offer educational programs through those partners that are going to be able to result in key opportunities, again, jobs, et cetera, for our community. So as we look at that, yeah, we looked at where the population was, et cetera, the 4 hospitals, all this here, and said, okay, the population is growing most around the PV area.
Prescott Valley.
Yeah, Prescott Valley. Is it going to be in downtown Prescott? I don't know. This is elementary or just in the beginning stages of that. But please, we are still going to do our sciences on the campuses. So the students, typically in nursing is a 2-year program, but it's actually 3 or 4.
Right, and it's even more so. It's,
Yes.
I mean, they're going to be requiring a bachelor's. I've been hearing lately in the discussions.
But by the time you come in, you
for a
take
registered nurse.
Yes.
Correct.
And so you go ahead and you take your sciences, the anatomy and physiology, et cetera, and then you get into whether it's CNA, or the certified nursing assistants, or the licensed practical nurse. The last year is the year that they would go and move to this hub. But keep in mind the clinical sites, they're right back in the community. And the clinical sites are where actually the employers can look at them and say, do we like this person? Not. I mean, it's a nice a test there, assessment, as well as the student can get to know where the community is. So they'll be here. Also to keep in mind that throughout this, we've seen what the effect of distance education and technology has been on education for years. And back in the year 2000, when the master plan was there, that was never factored in because it wasn't here.
I know. I mean, there weren't that many online courses, and now look at
it. Yeah,
half of your students. Is that
about a third? Yeah,
a third of your students.
And
do
a lot of them are our
online.
students that just because they want to go ahead and because of work, responsibilities,
family, children, small children.
So as you project this out, it's in the second phase of the master plan projected. So in year 4, 5, and 6, who knows what technology is going to do? We may be able to do all hybrid classes, or they'll be able to be all online, and students won't have to go out of the Verde area to attend that. But it's an uncertain thing. But we want to bring those partners in to be able to do that. And the programs that NAU is planning to bring are I'm not at liberty to say because it still has to go through umpteen layers in the Board of Regents. Very strong programs that will make the medical community here so much better for our citizens. But they are not about to offer that program at various sites throughout. They want one site. I'm in communication with U of A as well, Arizona, the medical school, and ASU. So if we can bring them together, as well as the 4 hospitals, we're actually even considering doing a virtual hospital. So the hospitals can do their training right there, all 4 of them. So it's a good thing, but...
so things aren't set in stone. There's still opportunities to listen to citizens.
Very much so, and to plan it. I think Barb Demler was first concerned from VVMC with, it's already planned. No, it's not. It's just beginning. And we've had 2 health summits on the campus, and we'll have a 3rd one soon to say, okay, now we're partners. How are we going to design this thing?
Okay.
So,
well, it's already time for another break. So we will be right back.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it. Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Jones, your host, and we have Dr. Penny Wills and James Perry from Yavapai College. So we're having a great discussion about college and opportunities for the citizens in, the Verde Valley, as we're interested in here, but you do serve the entire Yavapai County areas. So tell us a little bit more. We've talked about the nursing program, but what other degree programs are available through Yavapai College?
Well, Mayor Jones, we have approximately 13 degrees and 22 certificates that can be completed on the Verde campus. And, when you talk about associate's degrees in fine arts, in early childhood education, in education, certificate programs, emergency medical technician, of course, viticulture and enology, fire science, things like that. Again, we're always looking for new opportunities. The community colleges are very well placed to ramp up very quickly to the needs of a community and needs that are there. Within that, we're always cognizant of that working population, middle-aged population. And what becomes detrimental in that respect is how we offer those classes. Dr. Wills talked about hybrid, blended, online, face-to-face as well, and time frames. Because in many cases, we're dealing with a populace that does work full-time, is considering going back to school, so is our schedule conducive to their schedule? And we want to make sure that we address that.
That's very important.
Absolutely, and it makes for both. One of the areas that, when you talk about that age of 55 or 65, great OLLI programs. We're just getting ready to hire a new community education director, really to look at the needs of that population as well, because the older population doesn't necessarily want to take an English 101 class.
And they don't necessarily want a degree.
They don't want a degree, and they don't care about credit. So what else can we put out there, again, that meets the needs of the community, whether it be general interest or just plain fun? We want to be able to assess that and then move in that direction.
And you have quite a strong OLLI. I guess it's like the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. Quite a strong program right here in Sedona.
Yes.
That serves the entire Verde Valley.
Absolutely. They, if I'm correct, they have about 500 members.
Yeah.
I know my 87-year-old friend that just passed away loved OLLI. She just lived for it. She just felt so, I don't know what word I'm trying to think of, but fulfilled, I guess.
Yeah.
And her friends that she met there were so important to her, and what she learned, and what she was able to share from her wonderful life. So it is a great program, I know from personal experience. So a little bit more about, we talked about traditional age students, so you're serving, well, you're not only serving, people who in their 50s and 60s, but you're even going down into the high schools. Share a little bit about those collaborations. Correct.
We've worked very hard to establish relationships and partnerships in dual enrollment. So what we're able to do is credential the high school instructors for a transfer degree. It's a master's. They have to have a master's. And we credential their instructors, and they teach our curriculum, and the students are able to get both high school credit and college credit. And really we're looking for those students that want to begin early their college career. And, for the most part, they are ready.
Sometimes they've already finished a year of college by the time they finish high school.
Correct. We have them take our Compass placement test to figure out where they are so that we can make sure that, they can be successful. And again, that's just one other thing that we are doing with the high schools in order to create that seamless transition into a 4-year degree.
I think that was even of a concern of our local educators is with the 10-year plan as well. What happens to our high school program, because they felt that was so important in my discussions with them. So it's good to know that those things are going to continue. So what sets Yavapai College apart from other options?
To me, first of all, it's a responsibility each and every one of us takes every morning that we wake up. It's your college. It's not ours. We may teach there, we may administrate there, lead that college, etc., but we're responsible to the communities we serve. Also, when we look at distance education, some concerns about, it's a cold world, etc. As part of our accreditation process, we selected a topic, the effectiveness of distance education, and did a 3-year study of taking similar classes, one that was taught face-to-face, same instructor taught an online class, and studied it on its effectiveness, the retention, how engaged were the students, etc. And my commitment when I reviewed that was, if it's not working, we're not doing it anymore.
Right.
And it showed that it was. There are some things that we can improve on, and we're already improving. We've got our task forces, et cetera. But many institutions just jump into distance ed and don't look at its effectiveness. We have. So I think that's
great.
The other thing that I think really sets Yavapai College apart is our commitment to economic development. And the economic development, when I got here, is sort of a shotgun approach. Many community colleges are committed to that and work with that.
Right.
But from the outside, were we clear with what services we could offer, as well as who to contact? Did they contact James? Or as mayor, if you had a business that was interested in Cottonwood, who do you contact?
I've contacted James before.
Now we have reorganized under the Regional Economic Development Center, which is across the entire county. Alexander Wright is our new director. We've pulled in SBDC, the Small Business Development Group. We've also pulled in SCORE, and we're very supportive of the people like Casey Rooney. Casey is wonderful working with businesses.
Cottonwood Economic Development Director.
Yes. Oh, I thought everybody knows Casey.
But maybe everyone doesn't.
But we support the data. We do not run that. We support it.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't take the lead.
And the Business Assistance Center, you've been partners in that, and that's been a very good tool for small businesses.
Yeah. And we've been able to develop through that center very strong relationships with the Arizona Commerce Authority, which has sometimes a reputation, whether it's earned or not, as being more Phoenix-centric. Well, in rural Arizona, no, we're holding them saying, hey, hold on, and we just received our first grant through one of the major businesses to go ahead and help train them.
I'm happy to see some of those funds coming to rural Arizona.
Yes.
Well, folks, we could talk all day, probably another couple hours about our Yavapai College and all the opportunities it affords the residents of Yavapai County. But our time is up. So we'll have to do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
Because there's just so much more to talk about, really.
Yeah.
So it's been great having you as guests.
Thank you. Thank you.
We would like to sign off now, and as I always say, that's the way it is in Cottonwood.